Hello, I'm Lowell Martin, and this is MCC Today. Get ready for some word salad. On today's show, we have Cedric Gathings, Sandra Atkinson, and Tina Dukes. You're going to love this one. Stay tuned.
Not essential. Never let anyone tell you that again. Never doubt your abilities to make a difference. How do I know this about you? Because I'm a teacher. I am the one who will push you harder and farther than you could have ever imagined. Teach you things that you never thought possible. And if you will give me 100%, then I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and together we will change your future. MCC, find your wings.
And today we have the wonderful Miss Tina Dukes with us. And how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank
now,
you.
You are a student here at Meridian Community College.
I am.
And you have, this is your which semester?
This is my third semester back to school.
Okay.
Since I was 19.
Okay, so you came when you were 19, and then you're back.
I did. I was at a couple of other universities in the country, and then came back 3 semesters ago.
Okay, yeah, and you were in my class last year.
I was.
And that's where
College studies.
Yes, college study skills, and we connected. And I see you in the Success Center because you love math. And math loves you.
I do actually love math. I do actually
Yes.
love math. It's a challenge for me. And MCC has made it fun because the resources and the instructors are amazing, and they just all want to see me succeed. So I had to start back at the basics with basic algebra. And the math department and the Success Center has been there for me from there on.
Do you find now, as I get older, and I used to do there were some maths that I used to do, and I will look at something that someone's doing now, and I'll go, I used to know how to do that. Do you ever do that, where you're like, I used to know how to do that?
Well,
and you can still connect to it, but
yes.
it's just not, the knowledge is not readily available.
Yes. So I think I was in a unique position because when I began my academics in mathematics, it was not real strong, and I did not, back then, I wasn't required to have a lot. And so when I came back to school, a lot of this stuff was really new to me. And I think that's an advantage because then I wasn't confusing it with old information.
Were you nervous coming back?
Yeah, yes, I was very nervous. I was nervous about being around the other students that were the age of my children. I was concerned about how the instructors would interact with me. I was concerned about my ability to learn at this point, something out of a book.
Sure.
And I have found that those were all just empty fears. So,
Well, I think it's fear of the unknown, but
I
once you
agree.
get to know situations and people, and you
Yes.
realize, you've built it up in your mind to be something that it's not.
Yeah. And now MCC it is my community. I've been here long enough, and when I came back, like the first day back this semester, I felt like I was coming back home.
What program are you going into?
Well, I'm a transfer student right now, so I'll go over to MSU. I'm studying to be a social worker,
Okay. We need really good social work.
something I've wanted to do my entire life. So,
How is this time coming to college different from the first time coming to college?
well, different academically because, of course, they're teaching new things. There's new resources to access information. We've got the internet. We didn't have that before. We had a library and books, So that was a little intimidating at first, learning how to use all that stuff because my career prior to this was primarily being a stay-at-home mom. So I helped my kids, but I did not have to delve into anything that complicated. And not that this is complicated, it was just all new to me. But once I got moving, I've become more and more comfortable, So
Were you
that's a
ready for
huge
college
difference.
the first time? Do you think you were, and I don't mean just academically ready, but emotionally ready, but were you
no.
ready for it?
I was not.
Okay.
I was not. I was one of those young students that needed a little bit of time. Maybe
Okay.
not quite this much time, but that's all right.
That's all right.
Such is life.
That is just life. And so when do you think that you will be, when do you hope you'll be finished with your degree? What's your timetable?
Well, I hope the next year and a half.
Okay.
It's going to be at least 2 years. I will go on to get my master's degree.
Excellent.
But I'm not going to kill myself doing it.
Sure.
So I'll begin on my career path and then work on my master's degree as I'm doing that, because I want to do individual counseling.
One of the things that I loved about having you in my class, which there were many, but one of the things that I loved was that you validated a lot of the things that I was saying in the classroom.
Cool.
Because I would tell students, I'm like, even if you've been out of school for a year or a couple of years, your mind gets out of the habit of studying.
Yeah.
And you've given it kind of free range, and it takes a while to get it kind of back.
Yes.
And I always tell returning students, I'm like, at some point, it's gonna click. I wish I could tell you when.
Yeah.
But did you find that to be true?
Oh, absolutely.
That you study and you study and you
Absolutely.
study, and then you're like, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting this. And then at some point, it's like, click.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, especially with, like I'll use algebra as an example. You know, it all feels so foreign, even if I had been exposed to it previously. You know, it's been a really long time, so it all feels so foreign. So I have to really be attentive. I have to take my time. I have to expose myself to it, and then something does. It just clicks, and then I got it. You know,
And that's how, I think that's how most people are
Yeah.
when they get to this. It's like, you know, okay,
Yeah.
just stick with it. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, just stick with it, just stick with it, just do what you're supposed to do, just do your homework, just go to class, just
Yep.
study,
Yep.
study, study,
Yep.
and it will click.
Yep.
What words of advice would you have to anyone thinking about returning to school? You know, they're in a job that they're not
Yeah.
particularly happy with, or in a situation that they're not particularly happy with. What words of wisdom would you give them?
I would say age is a number, and that we're here to enjoy life to its fullest and follow your bliss. And where you find that is where you will find your joy and your purpose. And I think everything else falls into place between there and there. So if going back to school fits with that, go for it. Don't sell yourself short. Don't second guess yourself, and trust yourself.
And I think community colleges are we're the leaders in second chances and third chances and sometimes fourth chances.
Yeah.
You know, and take advantage of what's in your community.
Absolutely.
As you have done.
Yes.
You know, just looking at it, you know, have there been any situations that you come in and you're like, okay, and it's just ended up being kind of absurd or funny to you? Just a strange
you mean
situation?
like a learning challenge or something like
Or
that?
just a situation coming in the school?
Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing that comes to mind. It's not academic, but
Sure.
like my biology class that I'm taking this year, lecture class. You know, there's a sweet gal there. Her name is Kylie, and she was in my art appreciation class, and she's the age of my daughter. But she saw me and she remembered me, and she asked me all kinds of questions about my summer that she remembered I was doing, and invited me to sit with her and her friends.
Oh.
And so it's really cool because you know, I get to participate in that generation in a different way.
That's good.
Yeah, so I would say that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I have.
I'm sure there's been lots of others.
As I said, I think we've got so many opportunities here, and I'm glad that you take advantage of them. And also, the reason I wanted you on the show is to tell others that, you know, hey, if you want to do something, do it.
Yeah.
Get out there and do it. Don't let anything
Yeah.
stop you from doing that.
Never, never. And again, I don't have enough amazing things to say about MCC and all of the instructors here. I have never met an instructor that did not want to see me succeed and who would not do whatever they needed to do to help me do that. And so that took a lot of that fear, you know, and that pressure off, because I just know that I can walk in here and take a deep breath. And, you know, like I saw my biology teacher yesterday and my economics teacher, and, you know, walked out of there feeling way better. So, yeah, I mean, anybody thinking about doing it should absolutely do it. And MCC is the place to do it. There's no way to fail. It really isn't.
And I say this constantly to students: there is no way to fail unless you're just you're interested
Yeah,
in failing.
unless you don't want to do it.
And I mean, because there's so much support available to you
Yeah.
that you can take advantage of, and you just need to take advantage of. And one of the myths I think is that you go to college and you're going to be surrounded by these young
That was one of my
people
fears.
who just get out of high school.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
No.
Well, listen, I'm so glad that you're on the show today, and I want to have you back when you finish your degree.
I would love
Would
that.
that be okay?
I would love that, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, listen, thank you
Yes.
for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right
Appreciate
back.
it.
Since 1996, the MCC Foundation Tuition Guarantee Program has provided students an opportunity to find their potential. Thousands of students have benefited from the program. Over $6 million have been invested in the students who learn and live right here in our community. This program is funded by individuals and businesses who believe in our students, our families, and the economic impact of an education at Meridian Community College. Now is your chance to offer support. Give today at meridiancc.edu/give.
And we have Mr. Cedric Gathings. You are our new vice president here at Meridian Community College. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank
Now,
you.
you've now been here how long?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Okay. And that's probably how I grabbed you for this interview.
Yes, sir.
But how do you find things so far?
Things are great. Coming here has been absolutely amazing. We have great students. I have a wonderful staff that, as we learn one another, we're coming up with new ideas and new opportunities to better support our students as well as our faculty and staff.
Well, now you are the vice president of engagement. So, what sort of things do you hope to be involved in?
Well, overall, we are, when I think about my role and having been in this profession for many years, I look at the work we do as connecting students to resources, making for sure that we provide a safe, living, learning environment, also provide an opportunity for them to learn and be educated outside the classroom, establishing a relationship with our faculty so that we can make for sure that not only they're being educated in the classroom, that we are continuously doing that, whether it's through programs, through activities, through service within the division of student services.
Wow, and so, as I said, you've been here 3 weeks, and you were just kind of thrown in the deep end.
Well,
do you feel that way?
I'm not going to say I was thrown in the deep end, but I think I started at a very good time. It's always good to start, a role at the beginning of the academic year, and so you can have that opportunity to see programs, see activities, be part of different events at the beginning of the semester. And so as we move forward, it gives us an opportunity to reimagine and what can we do better, what assessments we can make.
Every meeting I've had with you, you have mentioned that. You've said that,
Yeah.
And in fact, just before this taping, you were in the Student Success Center, and you
Exactly.
were saying that again.
Yeah.
What can we do better? What can we do to bring the students in? What can we do?
Right.
Well, in addition to here at Meridian Community College, what do you think our role is in the community?
I think that we are the heartbeat of the community. We should position ourselves to where, regardless of who you are, where you're from, if you're looking for a academic advancement, if you're looking to take a just continuing education, or you just want to be exposed to ideas, I think that we should provide that opportunity for Lauderdale County, the city of Meridian, and abroad. So I think that the community colleges is our sole purpose is to serve the community.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and always have. That we are the nexus of many things that are
Exactly.
that are important in this community. What do you think about Meridian so far?
We've enjoyed it. My family and I have enjoyed being here, meeting people, connecting, and so coming from Columbus, which is just a little bit smaller than Meridian, but so.
Are you still commuting?
We do have an apartment here, but I do
Okay.
commute some days, and
Okay.
so.
But the plan is eventually.
So eventually, I accepted this job 2 weeks before my wife and children returned to school. And so I didn't think it was fair for me to say, hey, Dad has a new job and now we're going to have to relocate the family. And so we'll go through this first year with me commuting, with them coming to stay the weekend. And so we're going to make it work because we're so excited about the opportunity and all that it has to offer.
What do they think about Meridian
Oh,
Solar?
they
Just what they've
enjoy it.
seen?
You know, my wife was probably upset with me for saying this, but she loved the fact that we have a Sam's here.
Sometimes.
So you know, she loved that. My boys, just the thought about being in a new place, new opportunity. And so my oldest son is 14. Then I have my second son is 12, and then we have a 4-year-old daughter. And so, of course, as you can imagine,
Is she spoiled? Do y'all spoil her?
She is the head of the household. You know, everything have to clear through her.
Are your boys good older brothers?
They're very good. They're very good older brothers. You know, they're learning their responsibilities. They're learning their roles. You know, there's not a guidebook to being a parent or being an older sibling. And so, but we're doing the best that we can, making for sure that we provide them with the best opportunity we can give them.
Now, when you see, and you're talking about trying to engage the students as much as possible, do you have anything that you're thinking of that might bring the students more into studying and bring the students more into the community? Anything that you're kind of pondering right now?
We have a plethora of resources on campus, and one of my primary focus as we move forward are the commuter students. How do we get those commuter students connected to the resources that we have here on campus? What's a little different because, you know, they drive in, they drive out. So when we have programs, when we have events, and when we have their study sessions, we have to just reimagine what does that process look like? What does that opportunity look like for that student who's only here for a few hours? And so I'm just asking the people within the Office of Engagement to create a commuter student organization, and it will be open to any student. And we want to know what their needs are. If it's knowing more about having more classes at a certain time, or should we have more midday programs, or should we think about doing tutorials at another hour across the weekend? So anything that we can do to connect students, because I firmly believe connected students are successful students.
I agree.
And we are going to do all that we can to touch every community of students that we can here.
Well, now, and I've joked about this all the time,
Yeah.
that many of our commuter students, if it's not located on the way to their car, they're not going to do it, unfortunately. But I love that about the engagement. And sometimes it's not just when you have students who are working and who are super busy with family and other obligations. It's not just enough to say, okay, well, I'm just going to go to online classes.
Right.
Because there's a whole other, that they still need to do to hopefully be connected and get connected to resources that they need. I'm so glad that you're doing that.
Yeah, well, we're excited, and it's a team effort. You know, I work with a great group of people who, I use the word repurpose, reimagine, reengage, and so we're not coming to make immediate changes. We're just coming to say, hey, look, what are we doing? How can we enhance that opportunity? How can we change what we're doing to better suit that student who may not know about the resources? Because to your point, for that commuter student, they drive in. They may not know about it. They get an email from their advisor saying, come register for classes, but there's so many other opportunities that they could be connected with, whether they're going to the Student Life Center just between classes. And so when I talk about reimagining that experience, providing an opportunity for them to where if they have an 8 o'clock class and they don't have another one until 11 o'clock, where can they go? Besides sitting in their car or coming to the Student Success Center. And so we just have to think about what it is that, hearing directly from that student about what can we do to give you the best experience.
I so look forward to seeing what the next, few years will be like, because it's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
And I say this in study skills all the time. It's like, what are you doing? Is it working?
Yeah.
And if it's not working, we need to do something else.
Right.
Listen, I'm so glad that you were on today, and I want to get you on again after you've been here a little bit longer. And,
look forward to
how
it.
How things are going.
I look forward to it. Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll be right back.
Meridian Community College. For more than 75 years, we've helped students soar. Establishing the first tuition guarantee program in Mississippi, we put our students first, while creating pathways into the workforce and offering a seamless transition to a 4-year degree. Now is the time to find your purpose and register today, because those who move forward never get left behind. MCC, find your wings.
Well, we're back, and we have the wonderful Mr. Sander Atkinson, who is thrilled to be here.
Always.
And we appreciate you being here. I was thinking that we needed to do an update on sports, and who better to tell us about sports than you? How is everything going here?
Well, I mean, things are going good. Everybody's back, and we're on a much more normal schedule than we were last year, where we moved every sport to the spring semester, and that was quite a chaotic experience.
Yes,
and,
just logistically, that was a nightmare.
It was a real mess, but this year our soccer team has started the season. They came in 2 weeks before school started, like they normally do, and went through a preseason like they normally do, and we're on schedule to have a normal year. Matter of fact, our men are ranked 12th in the country in the latest poll, which is an outstanding start for them. But a further update is COVID is a different beast this year than it was last year, and we are experiencing more impact in the younger population, as I'm sure everybody's aware, and they see in the news, and so.
And we're still on the yellow alert.
The school's still on the yellow alert, but in athletics specifically, that's our it's caused us to put some teams in quarantine, more teams already this year than we put all of last year.
Really? Okay.
And feel confident that unless there's something changes drastically, we'll miss some games. We were never the cause of missing a game last year, but I don't see how we make it through this year and don't cause a missed game because of having to quarantine.
Well, when a team has to go into quarantine, what exactly does that mean?
Means they have to separate. Typically, we're lucky because of our rosters being so predominantly Mississippi. Most of them choose to quarantine at home.
Okay.
And that makes it much more convenient. But
is it 10 days, 2 weeks?
10 days if you test positive, 10 days.
Okay.
If you're a close contact, which is what that's why a team ends up having to quarantine, is it's really hard not to call them a close contact with all the time they spend together in the dorms, cafeteria, locker room, practice fields. Then the rest of the team starts a 14-day quarantine. 3 to 5 days after that contact with the positive person, they can test, and if they test negative, it reduces the quarantine to 7 days.
Okay.
That's our campus policy right now. So the latest team that we had on quarantine was able to come off quarantine had enough players come off on Wednesday. They are now practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a game that they were scheduled to play on Friday, they'll get to play on Saturday.
Okay, excellent.
Of this week.
So we're trying our best to get back to a normal schedule, but we're still suffering the effects of COVID.
Yeah.
And will be for a while.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think we're suffering them, for the age of the student athletes we're dealing with and our population, we're suffering the effects more this year. I've half jokingly but half serious told several people that a lot of the things we did last year, if we had realized that this year was going to impact our population more, we could have not done them last year and should have done them this year. But we spent all of last year in the summer thinking that everything was going to looked like it was trending back to normal. Right at the end, things start to get worse, and now I think we're still going to be fine. It's just going to be, we're still monitoring temperature checks and symptom checks daily, and we're doing all the things we can to keep safe as possible, but it's just going to have more of an impact this year.
How are the attitudes of the coaches and the athletes? I mean, and I know that this is, we have to do this. Right. We have to do this to protect. But I seem to, most of the young people that I see in the Success Center, because a lot of athletes come there for their study halls, they seem to be okay with it.
Yeah.
They seem to be,
No, I think they've been shown tremendous resilience and willingness to adapt to what we have to do, and to not complain about temperature and symptom checks and to wear a mask when we ask them to and to understand that there's just going to be some changes. I think they're thankful to be back on campus much more normally first, since we're running full week classes and back to their normal schedules like they're used to, playing at the times of year they expect to play and completing those seasons. And so I think they're just looking forward to it and just part of the team pulling hopefully all in the right direction.
One of the biggest things that I have to do now is I have to monitor, go through and monitor and remind them, hey, you got to keep that mask on.
No doubt.
You got to keep that mask on. And just this morning I said, you got to keep that mask on. And then a young lady did this and just put it over her chin. And I was like, look.
That's not on.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
You got to keep that mask on. Can you make any kind of predictions? Do you know when things might return to normal?
I wish I could.
Could you look into any kind of
I wish I had that crystal ball. I often there's a few things that I do in this job that if I had the answers to, I joke with students all the time. If I had the real answer to that, or the absolute answer, you wouldn't be talking to me, because I would have sold that to every school in America, and I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere counting my money. But so I don't have the answer, and there's just really not one.
But one of the good things is that we're all in this together, and I know that when they are quarantined and when they do have to go home, I know and I've witnessed that the teachers are working with them.
Right.
And making sure that they're staying up to date with their assignments, and making sure that they're still able to do, and not, and if I'm not mistaken, they're not being counted absent because they're being quarantined, and they're still doing their work, and they're.
Well, and I think that's one of the benefits of what we went through last year, just the school in total, and all the work that we went into, put into distance learning and being able to transition. It makes for a much more seamless move now. If an individual or a whole class at some point has to quarantine, or in our case in athletics, a whole team has to quarantine, the resources and the assignments, the things they need to do with their classwork are already online, and they can almost seamlessly go into that, continue along, and then when it's time to come back, they haven't missed anything other than the in-person instruction.
And this is something that I hadn't really thought about, but because we're under yellow alert, if people come to watch games, are they required to wear masks? Or do we strongly recommend that they wear masks?
We always would recommend it, especially, much like what we're doing right now, it's indoors. So at this point, unless obviously things can change between now and basketball season,
sure.
Right now we'd be required to wear it in the gym. At soccer and our outdoor venues, just like now when you're walking around campus, you don't have to wear a mask outside. You don't have to wear one at the soccer matches.
Okay, that's good. So hopefully, so as of now, everything is we're attempting normal.
That's right.
We're hoping we can get to
the new normal.
We're here, yes, the new normal, and but attitudes are good.
Sure.
We're still trudging along. Okay.
We're gonna make it.
That's what I wanted you on the show to talk about, and I appreciate you being here, even though I know how much you love it.
No, I look forward to this.
Well, listen, thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
We'll be right back.
Meridian Community College. For more than 75 years, we've helped students soar. Establishing the first tuition guarantee program in Mississippi, we put our students first, while creating pathways into the workforce and offering a seamless transition to a 4-year degree. Now is the time to find your purpose and register today, because those who move forward never get left behind. MCC, find your wings.
On behalf of executive producer Matt Milner, media specialist Josh Taylor, student producer Jacob Armstrong, thank you for watching. Hope your intelligence went up just a little bit.